Hey Cal fans, and welcome to this week's breakdown of the Cal defense against the Ole Miss Rebels. Now to me, this game really shows what our defensive staff is capable of when they're at their best. If you look at the stats at the end of the season, Ole Miss was probably in the top third of offenses that we played, whether we're talking about total offense or scoring offense, and we were able to shut them out for the last 43 minutes of the game, so that's a pretty big accomplishment. That said, they scored 16 points in the first quarter and change, and so obviously there was a big shift that happened somewhere in the second quarter. In this video, I'm going to look at two plays that shifted the momentum for us at the end of the first half, and then I'm going to look at the plays that won the game for us late in the fourth quarter. Alright, so just to set the scene, Ole Miss is up 16-7, and there's only about a minute and a half left in the second quarter. They've got the ball 2nd and 4, which is a pretty manageable down and distance, but I want you to keep your eye on Quentin Tartable here, and watch how he's able to blitz off the edge completely unblocked, and combined with Funchess is able to force a sack on Patterson. Now the really remarkable thing about this sack is that we're able to get it with only a 4-man pressure. Okay, so we're only bringing 4 pass rushers. We're bringing the defensive tackle, looping around the edge for contain. We're bringing this defensive tackle into the A gap. We're bringing this outside linebacker down into the B, and then we're bringing a safety off the edge. So it's not about how many guys you blitz, it's about how smart you blitz. 4-man rush, we're going to get unblocked pressure. Now to understand how that unblocked pressure comes, then we really need to look at how Ole Miss is pass protecting here. It looks to me like Ole Miss is sliding the side of the offensive line that's away from the running back. Okay, so this means that the left tackle is sliding over, the left guard is sliding over, and the center is sliding over. Okay? Now what this slide means is that Ole Miss is going to have the ability to block as many as 3 rushers coming from this side of the formation. So even if we blitz this outside linebacker, he shouldn't be able to get home because the left tackle is sliding into him. Even if we added this inside linebacker into the blitz, he wouldn't have an open gap because the left guard's sliding over, and then the center can slide over to take the defensive tackle. So when they're running this slide to the left, that means that they can block as many as 3 pass rushers coming from the left side of the formation. Okay, now that's obviously not what we did. We looped the defensive tackle around, and so all these guys end up sliding, and the defensive tackle ends up outside of the left tackle. Okay, so that's what's going on to the left side of the pass protection. The right side is doing something a little bit different. Because they don't have the center sliding toward them, since he's sliding in the opposite direction, the back side of the protection is manned up in protection. So that means that this right guard is manned up on the defensive tackle, and the right tackle is manned up on the outside linebacker. Now the key to this play is the running back's alignment, okay? I've said that these blockers, this side of the line, they're in man pass protection, and this running back has a man too. His man is this inside linebacker, and he's working something called a check release based off of what that inside linebacker does. In a man protection with a check release, if the inside linebacker blitzes, then the running back stays in and blocks him. That's his man. If the inside linebacker drops into coverage, on the other hand, then the running back sees that he's dropping, sees that he's not blitzing. As far as the running back's concerned, he doesn't have a man to block, so he is going to release as a wide receiver. Okay, now the problem here for Ole Miss, of course, is that even though we're dropping the inside linebacker, we are bringing another blitzer. It's just coming from this safety. Okay, and the running back was reading the inside linebacker. He wasn't reading the safety, so the running back is going to release out, and what's that going to do? Well, the right guard is manned up on the defensive tackle, so he's got to come down inside to block him. The right tackle is manned up on the outside linebacker, so he's got to come down inside to block him, and that leaves no one left to block this strong safety off the edge. We're able to rush for and get unblocked pressure to get a sack just by blitzing smarter than the other guys. Now that we understand how this play works, let's see it one more time. Watch how the center and everybody to his left is going to slide to the left, and that's going to leave Ole Miss with 3 blockers taking on basically 1 pass rusher. The running back's going to take a very perfunctory look at the inside linebacker before releasing, and that's going to allow Tartable to come unblocked off the edge. That's going to bring us to this play, which looks like a routine throwaway on 3rd and 17, but actually shows us a really interesting adjustment that our coaches have made. What we can see here is that throughout the game we had a problem with Patterson scrambling, and so we needed a way to keep him in the pocket or at least to contain him on these long yardage situations. For most of the game we played in our nickel personnel, and what that's going to mean is that we're going to use 2 true down linemen on the interior, and then we're going to use outside linebackers as stand-up defensive ends. When we get to this throwaway at the end of the half, though, we see that we've done something different. We're still playing with 2 true down linemen and 2 stand-up outside linebackers, but at the top of the screen we see that we've switched, with the down lineman playing outside on the edge as a defensive end, and the outside linebacker coming down over their left guard. We're bringing that linebacker inside here so that he's closer to Patterson, and so that he can serve as a spy on the quarterback if he decides to leave the pocket. With that adjustment in mind, let's skip ahead to the fourth quarter. Cal's got a 20-16 lead, and there are only about 3 minutes left, so Ole Miss is trying to drive to score a touchdown. We're still in nickel personnel, but this time we've put both of our down linemen at the top of the screen and both outside linebackers down at the bottom. This alignment's going to put Good in perfect position to drop back and tip the ball for an incompletion. Okay, so how'd this play happen? If you watched my Weber State breakdown 2 weeks ago, then you know that something that we like to do when we need to cover 2 receivers, in this case H and Y, is we like to play with 3 defenders over them in a kind of a triangle. So on this particular play, we're using the nickelback, strong safety, and inside linebacker to play a 3-on-2 triangle over the H and Y receivers. The cornerbacks just manned up on X, they're not really in the picture. Okay, so we're using 3 defenders to cover 2 receivers. The nickelback will take the first receiver to come outside, whoever that ends up being. The inside linebacker will take the first receiver to come inside, whoever that ends up being. And the strong safety will take the first receiver deep, whoever that ends up being. Now, on this play, Ole Miss has called a really good play to attack this inside linebacker, our inside defender. So the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to have this Y receiver run a pivot route. He's going to attack inside to draw this inside linebacker's attention and then pivot back to the outside, okay? Then behind him, this H receiver is running a slant. And this is designed to put this inside linebacker into conflict. If he widens with the pivot route by Y, then he's going to open up a window right here for the quarterback to hit that slant. If, on the other hand, he sits so that he can get underneath this slant, then the Y receiver's pivot route is going to pop open into this space in between the nickelback and the inside linebacker. So this guy can't really be right no matter what he does. This is a really good concept that Ole Miss has called. But let's look at the front here. Let's look at our defensive line. When we see our outside linebacker lined up over the guard, we know that he's probably going to be working as a spy, and that is what he's doing. So we're getting these 3 guys on a 3-man rush. Okay, and this outside linebacker is kind of engaging and then dropping to spy on the quarterback in case he scrambles. That's going to be what puts him in position to tip this ball when the quarterback tries to hit the slant to H. Let's watch that play one more time. Here we can see the Y receiver running his pivot route, and that as he breaks back outside, the inside linebacker follows him and opens up this great window for the slant to H. The only thing that saves us is an athletic leaping play by Good, who tips the ball and makes sure that it's incomplete. That all brings us to the best play of the game.
Intercepted! He threw it right to Cameron Good! Touchdown!
Now you might have noticed that on this play, Ole Miss is running essentially the same concepts that they ran on the last play. So Y here is running to the inside. I assume that he could pivot back out if he had the leverage for it. And H is running a slant behind him. Okay, so Ole Miss, they saw something that they liked. They thought they had a good shot at completing that last pass, so they go back to the well one more time. Now what we've done is we've changed up our coverage and done something a lot less predictable. So here you see that we don't have a 3-on-2 triangle over H and Y. We're essentially just manned up, with our nickelback manned up on H and our strong safety manned up on Y. We've also changed up our pass rush. So on this play, we're attacking Ole Miss's protection in a similar way to what we saw earlier in this video. Ole Miss is sliding their protection to the left, like we saw on the first play that we broke down. And they are in man protection on the backside, with the right guard manned up on the defensive tackle, the right tackle manned up on the outside linebacker, and the running back check releasing off of one or both of these running backs. Okay, and what we're doing here is we're blitzing, we're stabbing our defensive tackle inside, outside linebackers coming around the edge, and we're blitzing this B gap this running back here with both inside linebackers to overload that running back. Now what this blitz is going to do from Patterson's perspective is it's going to pop the middle of the field wide open for this slant. So we're in a man coverage. The strong safety is going to come inside with Y and cover him. That's not going to be open. But the nickel back is over the top of H. So he's going to run with him, but he's going to be at a disadvantage for this slant that's attacking underneath. So Patterson sees the blitz vacating the middle of the field. He sees the off coverage by this nickel back, and his eyes are lighting up because he thinks he's going to get a nice completion here to H. Okay? But sometimes, even when you've got a blitz on, it's not about the blitzers that you are bringing, it's about the ones that you aren't. So in this particular case, we are looping our nose tackle around to have contain on the left side of the pass rush here, and we are dropping our outside linebacker right into that window that's being vacated by our two blitzers. Good steps in front of the ball and gets the pick six and seals the win for us. Here it is again. Watch how both inside linebackers are blitzing and vacating the middle of the field. And then at the top of the screen, watch how our nose tackle loops outside so that Good can drop back into the window and get the pick. All right, that's all I've got for you today. Be sure to check back in 2 weeks when I break down our defense against USC. And until then, go Bears!